Thank you for joining me today at A Touch of Blue Studio with Drawing with Grandma. I am here in my studio once again, ready to do some sketchbook work, and I would love you to join me for this demonstration. Get your sketchbook out and sketch this triangle, and you can already probably guess that I love owls. And when my brother-in-law took this gorgeous photo of an owl at a wildlife preserve, I had to sketch it. So I've begun by placing that triangle for his forehead, and then I've built the ear shapes. I don't always start animals this way. Usually I do the whole head shape first, but I really felt that this particular image required that I get that forehead and ears placed before I could make the round structure of his full head. He's looking straight at the viewer, so I want to place the beak right in the center. It's a little off center, but this is correct so far. And now, after placing the beak, the ears, and that triangular shape, I can begin forming the whole head shape. So I'm going to be sure that I have the head symmetrical. His eye placement is crucial. So I'm going to compare them continually as I establish their basic shape, the pupil placement, the angle of the upper lid. His eyes are framed with a very dark, heavy line. And so I want to be sure that those are the same width and that they look the same on both sides. So I will work toward that. I want to also consider my shadow placement. The light is coming from the left side of this photo. So I'm going to make sure that I have the light side with lighter values and that the cast shadows on the right side are correct in the beginning, so I don't have to go back and redo anything. So that's one important tip, is to figure out your value language in the whole image by placing some strategic shading patterns so that you can determine the overall plan for your whole drawing. Not that you're doing all of the details and all of the lines, but it's like a blueprint of your finished work, is that you are planning and strategically laying out how you're going to structure, and then you can just work and focus on the details and the beauty of it and not have to be planning the whole time. So I like to do the planning in the beginning stages, so you can see I'm just trying to develop the most important parts, and then I can focus on the little areas. So this pattern that's on his forehead is an important symmetrical illusion that needs to help create that roundness of his head. So I want to make sure that the lines are moving down toward that beak. And so I've got them placed roughly, and then I'll go back later and be more specific. Then on his back, there are these patches that follow the contour of his body that I want to place in the rough contour there. And now I want to finalize the eye placement. I think the left one is a little off to the left, so I'm going to have to improve that placement. But I think the right one is correct. So I'm going to move forward with laying in some shadow and some strategic dark values that will really help to give him some form and to make sure that I'm progressing well. I am confident with the whole drawing except for that left eye, so I will move there in a moment, but I want to get the protrusion of that beak correct and make sure that I place the left side of his head correctly in relationship to that bold black stripe underneath that creates that unique shape of his head and face. So there's a lot of light hairs on the left side of his face, so I want to be careful that I use two different values when I do the left compared to the right. And that'll make sense when you see the finished drawing. You'll see that the right side is more in shadow and the left side is getting the most sunlight. Again, I want to emphasize the importance of practicing that sensitivity with the pencil, that when you add more pressure, like I am right now, I'm getting a very dark value, and I use the side of the pencil to create the contours that follow the shape of his body, his wing, the wing structure, the feathery feel, and I use the broad part of the pencil with a lot of pressure, and then I slowly release when I have lighter value like I'm doing now. It's a little medium. Now I'm going dark again, moving up, and then I'm going to go a little light there on the edge, light again, medium light, and now I want to make those patterns, lighter values, and then I'm going to move into some darks again. I'm going to really need to emphasize the shadows between those hairs so that they show up. And so, good line work, good line variation. Now you can see his forehead is a little crooked, so I think I'm going to fix that before I move forward and be sure that I've got him symmetrical. Right under his beak is a beautiful grouping of dark spots, and it really helps to frame that beautiful face and to offer the expression that we need to offer in this image. So I am just enjoying him so much. He's so beautiful. Going to keep building those specific areas that really reveal the patterns on him and the contrast of his feather marks. So here he is as a finished sketch, and you can see that I fixed the left side a little bit. I also did this one in ink wash, and that was so much fun. If you don't have ink, then you can use watercolor. Thank you so much for joining me today at A Touch of Blue Studio with Drawing with Grandma.